Hey folks, welcome to Speak Anyway Live. I know I went live this morning with Win Anyway Live, but hey, I haven't done many videos and I think it's time for me to start doing them again. So, hey, today you get two. You might just continue to get two for a while. I don't know how long. My morning lives will be Win Anyway Lives. They'll be motivational in nature, something to help start your day right. I'm going to see if I can do them earlier and earlier since I am in mountain time. And if I do something even at 6 a.m., it's 8 a.m. for you guys over on the East Coast. And then these, Speak Anyway, which will cover speaking and communication and some of the things that I talk about as well. But basically, it'll be a coaching live of sorts. They'll be in the evening, not necessarily always around this time, but typically between 5:30 and 9:30, depending on what meetings I have that night. So tonight, I want to talk about whether you are around your story or in your story. It's really easy for us to tell stories from a narrative point of view. For instance, there is a story that I tell about myself when I was probably 5 or 6 years old. I would go around the neighborhood, going behind houses, looking in the window wells. I was in Sun Prairie, Wisconsin, where virtually every house had a window well in it. And I'd look for frogs and salamanders. Well, one day I was doing this, and there was a dog in the backyard that was not on a leash. Well, he might have been on a leash. I don't know if he was on a leash or not. To me, at 5, it felt like he was not. And he came chasing me around from the backyard to the front yard and caught my leg. I fell to the ground and rolled down the hill, got away from the dog. I don't know if it's because his leash gave up and he was stuck, or if the owner had stopped him somehow yelling. All I remember is he eventually stopped biting and I got away, rolled down to the sidewalk. Then I was walking home. I already limped, but I was limping even more. And my mom was coming by in the car. I was waving frantically, and she didn't see me and went right home without me, and I had to walk the rest of the way home, which really bothered me, and I got pretty upset when I got home. I was like, why didn't you pick me up? Okay, so that's pretty much a narrative telling of that story. It's accurate. It is what happened. It even talks a little bit about the emotion. It talks about action, but it is around the story. It's outside the story. You're outside of it, looking in at what happened to me, getting it somewhat from my point of view, but you're not in the story yourself. So I'm going to attempt to tell the story very intentionally from within the story, the way I would want to tell the story if I were actually telling it in a speech. Summer 1973, I was 5 years old. One of my biggest pastimes was walking through the neighborhood in the backyards of houses, looking into their window wells. Because in Sun Prairie, Wisconsin, most houses had window wells, and in most window wells were a boy's dream: live frogs and live salamanders. I would go up, see if they had any, pick a frog out, pick a salamander out, put it in the bucket that I had brought with me, if I was lucky enough to find any. Well, on this particular day, I fell into a bit of misfortune. I'm looking in the window well of this house, and suddenly there's barking. And this dog just attacks me. I'm running around the house, out to the front. He's running as fast as he can after me, and finally is able to bite my leg. Ah! And it felt like he gnawed on it for a couple of minutes. I'm sure he didn't. I'm sure it was a split second, because I'm on the lawn on the ground, rolling over and over and over, trying to get off the lawn near the sidewalk as far away from this dog as I can, and the dog finally let go. I don't know if he got stuck on a leash or if his owner started yelling at him or if he just gave up. But I was freaking out. I'm 5 years old. I'm small. The dog is small, but the dog was big to me. And I'm in pain. There's blood coming through my jeans from my leg. Now, at this point, I'm getting up and I'm starting to head home. And I already limp because I've limped my whole life, but I'm limping a little bit extra. And I'm in pain. And I'm crying. And I'm sweaty. But then I see the orange Nova that my mom is driving around the circle. I'm not sure where she was coming from, but I'm thinking, yes, she is going to save the day. Waving my arms. Mom, Mom, Mom. Whoosh. Drives right by. And I'm angry. And I'm sad. I'm crying. And I'm angry. And when I finally get home, I'm like, Mom, didn't you see me? Look at my leg. Didn't you see me? I thought you were going to save me. No, I didn't see you. I guess I was keeping my eyes on the road. Well, I guess that's one lesson. Keep your eyes on the road, I suppose, for later. But maybe I shouldn't have been going around in backyards. Or if I had, maybe I should have brought something with me to ward off the dogs. Who let the dogs out? Woo! Woo! There, I had to get that in just in case. So hopefully hearing that story the second time put you into it. Made you feel what I was feeling more. Helped you see it. I know I can make that story better if I write it. And if I really work on the perspective. Shorten it probably somewhat. But the point is to try to really bring your audience into that moment. That way you aren't just telling about something that happened to you, but telling it as it happens to you, retelling it, reliving it, so that your audience can live it with you. And you might want to have a stronger point than I eventually ended up with on this one. But that's for another day too. So there you go. That's your Speak Anyway lesson for the night. We'll see you next time on Speak Anyway Live.